Hi gang, welcome to our first Ask the Expert session, and hey, congratulations for finishing week 1 of the Money Makeover. Have you found it useful? Look, hope so, because you've actually laid a great foundation for the next 3 weeks. What have we looked at? Setting financial goals, how to do your budgeting, track your expenses, boosting your career by looking at your CV, how to earn other bits of income to help balance the family budget. So we've covered a lot in this week, a lot of the fundamentals on which we're going to build for the next 3 weeks. Remember, banking and debt is next week, so that's going to be a cracking week. But first up, let's start answering your questions from this week. And I love the way how you're swapping your ideas through the forums as well. Let's keep that up and all learn from each other. Now, delighted to welcome as our first expert, Claire Mackay from Quantum Financial. Claire is an award-winning financial planner and has been and seen through it all. So it's great to have her aboard. Claire, good to see you again. And of course, she who must be obeyed, Lib, who's the financial guru of our financial relationship. How long have you been looking after our family dough for?
Pretty well the whole time, 37 years we've been married.
Oh, that's a lot.
And it's gone like a flash, of course.
I still get my allowance every week, so...
If only you can stick to it.
Let's get underway, guys. We've got a few questions to go through. First of all, should we open a separate savings account, or are we better off leaving the money in our mortgage offset account? This way, we're not earning interest and increasing our income. Instead, we're reducing the interest paid on our mortgage. This is the argument, is a mortgage offset account better than a savings account? Claire?
Well, if you're getting about 3% in savings and you're paying 4.5%, 5% on your mortgage, the maths is pretty simple. It's better to use your offset.
Yep, exactly. Just do the maths. Same one here. Hi Claire, my wife and I have a mortgage, 1 child and another on the way. For around 8 years now, we've simply been putting any excess cash into our mortgage or offset account. Do we just continue paying off the mortgage as fast as we can, or look at other investments? There aren't that many investments that actually return you, 5 or 6% a year.
Guaranteed.
That's the trick, isn't it? Guaranteed.
You know your mortgage is what it is, and I mean, for this family, working hard to pay down that mortgage as quickly as possible is the best advice.
Yep. And Lib, that's what we've always done, isn't it?
Definitely. We've just ploughed any spare cash that we've been able to accumulate into the mortgage, knowing that you're just not going to get the same interest there.
And also your mortgage, because you can have drawdowns and offsets and things like that, is also a good place for your emergency fund too, isn't it?
Yep.
That's the best place for it, rather than putting it in a separate account.
Yeah.
But you've got to have the discipline. My husband runs a local post office while I work 3 days a week hairdressing from home. My issue, I find it hard to ever save, as I feel my hairdressing money is grocery money and for pleasure, and most of the time everything goes out of the post office to pay the bills. So I find it hard to write up a budget. My husband is definitely the money man. I'm the spender. I've never been great with money. I'm eager to learn, as I've joined up to learn more, but personally I'm embarrassed that at my age I don't have a lot for myself. It's a really vulnerable position, and
exactly.
We've got lots of friends in this exact same position, don't we?
I mean, the embarrassment is what she's feeling. It's not necessarily what anybody else would be thinking of her. So I think she's making the first step by saying, I actually want to learn more. So the best way is just to think, well, that's the positive thought here. Put the embarrassment aside, because there's a lot of other people that are just burying their heads in the sand and not even making that first step. And so then she can go on and make a budget. And I think if she actually makes a family budget, she then might not be such a spendthrift and get more excitement at seeing the saving grow and thinking, where I'm actually helping my husband pay the major bills like the mortgage, and would feel better about herself when she thinks, well, I shouldn't spend as much. She's obviously thinking that way, so she'll actually get more esteem.
And in week 4, we look at how to have a better financial relationship with your partner, because this one's a classic case. You should be talking more with each other about your money, and you being across what he's doing and him being across more what you're doing. Now, this business of having one partner take control of all the money, I think is incredibly dangerous. It's usually the bloke that does it. It means you're incredibly vulnerable. And we give you a few tips on how to make that work a whole lot better. If your husband says, don't you trust me, why should you know?
It's not
a matter of trust.
It's not about trust. It's also
It's
what happens if
protecting
he
yourself.
gets sick. What happens if he can't and you know, he's for whatever
Gets hit
reason.
by a bus
exactly.
or...
But in as you said, Lib, really saying, you know what, forget the embarrassment, start learning. It's never too late to learn. You know, it's never too late to learn. It's never too late to learn great habits.
Exactly. And another aspect that I've recently come across, in this same scenario with a husband thinking, oh, it's okay, I understand the money, I'm happy to do it. I won't bother telling my wife the real situation because it might just upset her. And it's actually created a lot of stress because things haven't gone so well. So he's left it so long and he thinks, well, I can't start talking about money now. It'll be just way too much to hit her with. And so he's carrying all that stress because their finances have sort of gone backwards. And
that
where
affects
do you
the
start?
relationship.
Terribly.
Yeah.
So you're setting yourself up for trouble down the track.
Both sides. So the key is just building a strong financial relationship together, and each sharing. Yes, you can allocate tasks to each other, but you've got to share everything. What I always say is once a month, it's only once a month, sit down together for 15 minutes and just talk about money. Not pay bills, not say, oh, we spent too much there, we spent too much there. It is just sit down, say, okay, what are our goals and dreams about money? How are we going? How we have to adjust our behaviour, all that sort of stuff. Glass of wine and just talk about it as a couple. Rarely do couples sit down and talk about money.
It's probably the most important message we could actually give to people, or we'd hope that they would get from doing the makeover. When you're in a partnership, it's all about sharing that
And
load
trust.
and creating understanding.
Yep. All right, let's move on. As I say, week 4, we got a special day looking at relationships. Next question. My husband and I have 3 children, private schools. So, for 1 year we had 4. I know you're paying.
We know what that's like.
I think there are areas we could save money. Yep, we went through that. I believe we're overinsured and a lot of money is lost here. 2 super funds each. Should we be rolling the old super into the new one to save fees? Easy answer, Claire.
Yes, once you know what you're losing with moving them.
Yep. All right. Yeah. Make sure you know what the exit
That's a
fees
good
are.
point.
But also we have death and disablement benefits through super, and we also have private life and trauma cover. What's a good gauge on how much is enough insurance?
Well, again, you can pay for the Rolls Royce of insurance cover, but it's going to cost you in your budget.
Yep.
So you know, to understand how much insurance you need to know how much how much debt you've got, what your living expenses are, and if someone can't work, what do you need to pay for? So you've obviously got 3 private school fees and all the other things that the living costs. But you don't need to have more than enough. You don't need to be doubling up, and you don't need to necessarily have the Rolls Royce because it's a plan B you pray you never have to use to alleviate the concerns.
So first step would be to look at what your super fund insurance covers you,
and
then see if you need any top up or whether you can do it through your super fund for cheaper.
Yeah, because generally insurance through your super fund for life and TPD will be cheaper than outside.
Yep, and we went through that.
Exactly, that's what we recently did, and it was a terrific thing that was initiated by our banker. Suggested I look at it, and it has not only saved us a lot of money on our premiums, but because I'm paying the life insurance as an annual fee from the super fund, that's created a lot of monthly extra income, which basically we could then put into our mortgage. So it's actually created more for us by just looking at how you organise where it's coming from.
So your bank or your super fund will advise you, but that's a starting point. Another one, I was made redundant for 20 years of loyal service almost 12 months ago, unsure how to commence the first step of documenting my spending with no wage or financial assistance at the moment. I'm doing some casual work, but it's difficult to track given it only covers some food and the odd bill. I'm hoping to be employed more permanently later. I'm 52, single, life's difficult. Can you please give me some guidelines on my current situation? That is tough,
That is
because you
tough.
do feel vulnerable.
Yeah. And so again, recognising that you need help and that there's some actions you can do is brilliant. So when you're in that situation where everything is got to count, you've really got to lock down what are your existence costs, you know, your living costs, the bare necessities when it comes to food, if you need a car for work and things like that. So absolute essential costs, because anything above and beyond that is not, you know, can be cut.
Is ancillary.
Yeah.
And then look at how you can earn extra income, extra sources of income. And we go through that in the makeover, turning a hobby into a money makeover, or into a money machine, if you like, going to markets, all that sort of thing.
Airbnb, if you've got a room that you can rent out. There's lots of ways of being creative about what you can do.
Yeah, and lots of new industries. That's become all this controversy about an UberX driver become one of them. Airbnb is renting out rooms in your house, or even your front yard. You can rent out to backpackers. There's a website. It's called the flash term is collaborative consumption, but you can earn. I did a story for Seven News the end of last year, and worked out that you can be earning about $300 a week out of your house just by sharing. So give it a go.
And it's not so hard. Like, he was worried about being able to document everything and getting into the habit of that. But most people have smartphones, and with the notes section, I find it's easy to just open up Note and then just, write down, just spent so much on petrol, or I had to go to lunch so much there, or so much on postage. You just track that for, say, a week or two, and it's always with you if you just pop it into your phone. It's very easy then to get an idea of where your spending's going, and that's what he was worried about.
And pop it into our budget spreadsheet.
That's right, once you've got your total.
Makeover with your control centre. All right, our next question. I'm married with 3 young kids, set up 3 bank accounts for each child, put in $3,000 offsetting against the home mortgage. We'd like to continue adding $20 to each account per week until they're 18, which is financially better. Keep the money saving in this manner. Join the money together into a high interest savings account and add $60 a week to it. Open up 3 high interest savings accounts, one for each child, or invest this $9,000 in bank shares. Then how do we add the 60 a week?
Okay, so again, with a mortgage, using the offset is smart for the overall family. There's sometimes some concerns around the fact that when the children turn 18, how do you equate what they could have earned? Putting accounts into children's names sometimes can also create issues because the children don't get the tax-free threshold, but whether their interest or earnings are going to be more than that.
Yeah, so understand it's still $420. They earn more than $420 in interest. They go onto the top tax bracket in terms of taxing that interest. So you've got to be careful when you put money aside for kids.
So I think the idea of using your offset, which you're currently doing, is a smart one. You're obviously very disciplined about allocating across the 3 children, and there's an element of equity there. So when at the time you want to give it to the children, you can then work out a share of some earnings on that amount.
Yeah, I was going to say that, and the 3 separate accounts, that's a lot to maintain. That's probably more a tool when you want to actually teach your children about savings and getting them involved and getting part-time jobs and putting into it. I think that's a separate area of work. Yeah,
exactly. All right, final question. I'd like to know if it's possible to use my superannuation towards an investment property. I've spoken to a few people with mixed answers. So this is your self-managed superannuation fund, not if you're in an employer super fund, you can't do it.
Yeah, so there is one type of super fund that you can do this. It is complex, but it is capable. What I would say if someone is considering this, that they make sure that they consider this strategy in the light of their overall financial plan, because if it's all of their super into one property with potentially using debt, that's a lot of eggs in one basket.
Particularly if you've got your own home.
Yes.
Because it means your super's dominated by property and your private investments is dominated by your home, which is property. A lot of people don't class their house as a property investment, but that should go into the balance, shouldn't it, of your investment? So you've got to be careful with it.
So yes, it's possible, but it's complicated and you should get some advice.
Yeah. Talk to your financial planner or accountant and they'll show you how to do it. Claire, good to see you.
It's a pleasure.
Now, we've
See
got
you
all
again.
Claire's details if you want to take anything further with Claire through the website and the control centre as well. But good to see you.
It's been lovely.
Thanks,
Look
Claire.
forward to seeing you next week. Week 2 of the makeover. I'm excited. Hopefully you are too. Have a good weekend.